Hello, welcome to Clash of the Rams, the sports talk show. I'm your host, Jeremy Hayes. Along with me, we got Eric Russo, Davison Perez,
What's going on, guys?
and Jared Doherty.
How we doing?
All right, season 3, guys, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right,
Do it.
we're going to jump right into it. What is the top story? Red Sox are on top in baseball right now. They're the best team right now. They just swept the Yankees. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox just this season and hopefully the playoffs, assuming the playoffs right now, 10 games left? What do you guys think? Eric?
Well, it feels good to have the Red Sox back having a postseason feel to them. We haven't had that in a couple of years now. But the turnaround has been amazing. I mean, where we were last year at this time with Bobby Valentine and that whole clown show, if you will, it was terrible for fans. It was terrible for the city, but they're back. It's just amazing turnaround. You got to give credit to Ben Sherrington for the moves he made in the offseason, the clubhouse guys that he's brought in, Mike Napoli, Shane Victorino, David Ross. Just go down the line. They've all been amazing, not just on the field, but in the clubhouse, around the team. The whole attitude has changed.
I definitely agree. I mean, the fact that the Red Sox are just 4 games out from clinching. Who would have thought we would have been here after last year? You know what I mean? Like, it's very surprising. We got some breakout stars like Koji Uehara, who nobody saw him coming. I mean, we thought that we were gonna have Hanrahan in and we were gonna have Bailey, but they didn't end up working out. So everything seems to be clicking just at the right time for this team. So I'm loving it. I'm loving the beards.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that thing going on. I mean, it's a good season.
All right, Jared?
There's nothing really more that you guys haven't touched upon with this team. Like, I want to grow a beard now for this team. This has been unbelievable. From last year, I did not expect this at all. I thought they were going to be still horrible. I remember me and Ryan debated it last year, and I thought they were going to be at the bottom, no chance of a turnaround, and remarkable. You have to give so much credit to Ben Sherrington, even John Farrell, and just the players, the leaders on that team. I think those are the people that you really got to credit as well, like Pedroia, Ortiz. Like, those are the guys that really have came in,
Definitely.
stepped up, and made this a remarkable season.
I think that's the biggest thing is the attitude around the team. These guys love each other. They have fun. The beards. We haven't had something like that since 2004.
It reminds me of
where
2004.
Everybody's together. Everybody, like last night, Napoli hits a home run. He comes back to the dugout. Everybody's going crazy. Everyone's having fun. We haven't seen that. Even in 2011 when they were good, there was superstar guys that had these egos. Josh Beckett, Carl Crawford. There wasn't that fun attitude. Just go out there and play and have fun. We haven't seen that. We're seeing it now, and that's a huge reason. In addition to the starting pitching turning around, that's the biggest reason for the turnaround.
That's definitely the biggest thing. I mean, John Lester pitching the way that he's been pitching. You got Buchholz back after that game last night where he was just phenomenal after that first inning. I mean, everything seems to be clicking. I feel that John Farrell has a lot to do with the chemistry in this team. I mean, I feel that he always should have been a manager, even when he was a pitching coach for Francona. And
I really think Farrell has been the right guy to choose for this team. I doubted him. I didn't think he could turn around the pitching rotation, but Lackey would have turned around for him too. There's really nothing to hate about this team. It's really fun, and it's brought a fun excitement to going to Fenway Park again. It's not just an event. It's fun, a baseball team again.
We've all talked about the Red Sox and just in general how it's great compared to last year, but nobody's talking about the fact our hitting this year is phenomenal. We have 6 guys who are probably still in the race for a batting title because their averages are so high.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, again, like you said, the pitching has been over the top huge for us.
Definitely.
That's probably why we are where the Red Sox are today. But I mean, other than that, is there a competition going into the playoff? Should the Red Sox be confident going into the playoffs, or should
I think they can be pretty confident. I think that everything, like I said before, everything shaped out the way it seemingly is supposed to be. And I feel like with the current team and the current chemistry that they have now, they have the potential to go very far. And going back to the hitting, just to point out how much I like the fact that the Red Sox are being so patient at the plate and working into hitters' counts and whatnot. I feel like that, while it is running pitchers out of the game earlier, their opponents out of the game earlier, at the same time it's producing and giving them more opportunities to get more runs in. So it's
I
a
think
beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think there was some question even throughout the year when they were playing well. They were in first place, but there was some question as to whether they could sustain it and be a good playoff team. But I think we've seen over the last 6 weeks they've been on an incredible run. We're just dominating.
And so humble at the same time.
Right, exactly. And so you would have to think that amazingly they are the favorite to win the whole thing. They have the pitching. They're 4-5 deep in the starting rotation. I mean, we're
even 6. I mean, because Dubron is all right, but he's still a solid pitcher. And Dempster, he's like they're good, solid pitchers that'll work counts and get you innings. So. Definitely.
Yeah, they don't have that one ace guy like a Pedro, but Lester has started to become that again, and Buchholz is back. He can be that. Lackey's been good. Because for a while there, we didn't know who was going to start game 1. Now I think Lester is sliding into that role, but you still have 3 or 4 guys who you have to
I think
say.
it's the depth of this team that will hopefully let them go far, which anything's better than what we've seen the last 3-4 years with this team.
And just one quick thing. Sorry.
Okay.
The fact that the offense has been playing so good is pretty key for the pitching staff because they're working together to win these ball games. The fact that the pitchers are able to go so long into games does well for the bullpen. The fact that they're actually hitting gives their pitchers support. So like I said before, again, it's a great combination of good things that are happening for this team.
It feels like 2004.
It does. I agree with you. All right. Well, we're gonna have to wait till a couple of weeks to see what's actually going to happen, but it'll be interesting. All right, moving on to our next topic. NFL's back. A lot of people are happy about it. We got our NFL Sundays back. I'm enjoying it. But, as far as, let's stick to the Boston genre here. As far as the Patriots right now, 2-0, but a lot of people say an ugly 2-0. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think about the Patriots and what's in store for them for this season? Jared?
Very, very ugly. 2 ugly games from the Patriots, and it's hard to pinpoint who's at fault for this. I, in my opinion, would think at fault is just the injuries, and the people who were supposed to be there who are not there anymore. As much as I don't even want to bring up Aaron Hernandez, him being gone, that's a huge problem with this team. And then Gronkowski injured, and it puts so much pressure onto the rookies. Again, these rookies wide receivers coming in, Tom Brady throwing to them, that's a lot of pressure. And there's a big burden on them to perform at this level.
Definitely.
And I think they just have so much pressure on it. So it's been very ugly, but we'll see how it goes around so far.
Jared, you're my guy, but I have to disagree with you. I think the problem with this team is the lack of offensive execution that they have. I mean, their defense has been playing good. The defense has been the sole reason why they've been able to be in these games. And I think that there could be a lot more things done on offense for this team. Like, for just starting off with the wide receivers. Kemba Tompkins, he was supposed to be the star. He was the star in preseason. But when you get into real-life situations in real games, you pass him the ball, and instead of getting extra yards, he just waltzes out of bounds. Like, that's no. You gotta be aggressive in this league. That goes for all of the wide receivers. They all gotta be aggressive because they're all lacking aggressive. And the injuries does have something to do with it, like Amendola and his injury. But I think more than anything, it's the offensive execution.
It's definitely the offense. It's the receivers. These guys, they're depending on rookies to carry them right now because they don't have the veteran receivers like they have Amendola, but now he's hurt. Mm-hmm. Gronk's not there at tight end. Hernandez is gone. So the problem is when you let a guy like Welker go and you bring in Amendola who's injury prone, you're setting yourself up for something to go wrong. So when you have to depend on rookie wide receivers, it's going to throw you off. It takes time for rookie wide receivers to develop in the NFL. And when you're depending on them to be your number 1, number 2 guys, there's going to be growing pains. So the problem was not bringing in veteran guys who can help out and shoulder the load and let the rookies come in and go at their own pace. When you're throwing them right in there, things are going to be off. They've been off. So I think the blame comes to Belichick and the front office for not bringing in veteran guys who can shoulder the load
and
Now
play
you-
a full season.
Right.
and not get
Instead of
injured.
letting the rookies just come in and take their time to get acclimated to everything, we're depending on them to be the guys, and it's showing that they're not ready for it.
Yeah, we've put a huge burden. Like with the Patriots, Belichick would not bring in anyone else. You've just put the burden on these rookie guys, and as a fan, you're going to expect them to just step in and do what Welker did, and that's not going to happen. So it's going to take time, and it's unfortunate that the Patriots won those first 2 games. I think if they lost, it could have been a wake-up call to bring in somebody. I think it was bad that they won. Maybe it could have been a wake-up call. Granted, luckily they did win, but when they start facing tougher competition, they face the Jets and the Bills.
Right.
When they face a tough competitor, it's going to be ugly.
And when you think about it, what does this tell you? The offseason moves. What does this tell you about the Patriots themselves? It says that they, like Patriot fans, they confide in 2 things: Belichick and Tom Brady. And they think that just because they have those 2, that they're going to have a phenomenal year and that they're going to have the best offense in the National Football League. That's not going to happen. Tom Brady is not the savior. You have to put pieces around him. He's always had pieces around him before. What happened this year? You don't have any legit threat that can do pretty much what Tom Brady needs them to do.
Amendola was a stud week 1, but now he's injured. He's gone just like that. So it's going to be. We'll see what happens.
I gotta say, because we're talking a lot about the offense too, and one person brought up where the defense really is the savior of the team right now, but not a lot of people are willing to talk bad about Tom Brady and say that the defense has been everything in the past since 2009, ever since Moss left. Every big game that the Patriots have lost, it's been on the offense. Anybody who says otherwise is ridiculous, because the defense is the one that comes through. They average holding teams under like 14 points. If this offense can't score over 14 points, just like in the Giants Super Bowls, if you can't score more than 4, that's on the offense. Like you said, Tom Brady and Belichick, they're putting way too much on them.
Like they're great. They're great. They're gonna go down in history as the best coach-quarterback combo, but it's not the end-all, be-all of
It's a team sport.
Pretty much.
I mean,
Not going to win with just a quarterback.
Brady can't
and
throw
just
it past
coach.
himself.
Yeah.
Like his wife said.
thank you. I was just going to say
Like
that,
you
yeah.
said.
All right, we're going to move on to the next topic now on that note, and we're going to talk about hockey now.
Mm-hmm.
Ugly summer for, well, not necessarily an ugly summer, but yeah, I guess you can say that for the Bruins not coming up with the Stanley Cup. Moving on from that, what do you guys think about these off-season moves? A lot of people wouldn't say they're drastic moves, but they are kind of big blockbuster moves for the Bruins. So what do you think about this offseason?
Well, the summer didn't start off too well. The season went into the summer a little bit, but they made some significant moves considering that over the last 3 or 4 years they had pretty much had the same group since 2011 when they won the Stanley Cup. Pretty much the same roster was the same with the exception of Tim Thomas and Tuukka Rask last year, but they trade Tyler Seguin, Nathan Horton leaves via free agency, Andrew Ferentz leaves via free agency, Rich Peverly goes in that trade, and they bring in Louis Eriksson from Dallas in that Tyler Seguin trade. They bring in Jerome McGinley, who a lot of us thought would be here a little bit earlier, back at the trade deadline. Obviously, we know how that turned out, but I think they're good moves. I think they're right in position to contend again for a Stanley Cup. They have, the bottom line is, even though they've made some moves, their core is still together. It's Bergeron, it's
Rask.
Chara, it's Tuukka Rask, it's Milan Lucic, David Krejci. Those guys are still here. They're still the guys that they're going to depend on to be the guys. And so, you bring in guys like Ginla and Eriksson who are going to be good, and that just makes you even better, I think.
Talk about an ugly summer. I like it was a very great summer in my opinion, but for the off season, what they did, I think they're in a better spot now. I really don't think they took a step back. I think they took a step. They stayed where they are, maybe a little bit forward.
I
think
agree.
Eriksson fits way better into the system than Seguin. Seguin, whatever, he can go away. Again, he'll go to Dallas. It's going to be a little upsetting to watch if he goes to Dallas and he performs at a higher level, which he might. He might produce a lot more on that new system, but it's okay. It's as expected. For the Bruins, I think they're better off with Eriksson, Ginla, rather than Seguin in his antics off field. I mean, he's still young, but the Bruins gave up on him, got rid of him. We have Eriksson. The Bruins get Eriksson, and it's a lot. I think they're a better spot right now.
Ericsson's definitely a great fit to go alongside Patrice Bergeron. He's a two-way player. He loves to play defense. He can score. He's got skill. So sliding right in there with Marchand and Bergeron, which is that shutdown defensive
Their
line.
top six offense, unbelievable.
Right, like you
Huge step
said,
up.
the moves they made, they have not taken a step back.
No.
They're right where they were last year, if not better. And the one thing they have to worry about is they played so far into a normal off season. When there was the lockout, the season was delayed. Plus, they go to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, which takes you all the way till the end of June. Some teams didn't play April, May. At the end of April, they didn't play in May. They didn't play in June. Have had all this time off. Now, it didn't even feel like there was an off season. There was 2 months tops. Now we're back into a training camp.
Preseason starts tonight.
The preseason starts tonight up in Montreal. So the one concern would be, is there going to be a little bit of a hangover effect? We saw in 2011 after they won, they struggled a bit at the beginning of the year. It's a known fact in the NHL that teams that go to the Cup Final usually have a little bit of a tough start. So we'll see. Maybe the new guys will change that.
Yeah, maybe Eriksson has a new fire playing on a team
Right.
that matters. He's only seen the playoffs once, but that was almost 5 years ago or so. He's never even been into the Stanley Cup, so he has a new fire he can go for. Iginla, maybe coming in to prove something wrong. He chose not the Bruins, maybe coming in to prove everyone wrong, say he wants to be here. So maybe the new guys will bring in a new fire, new light. Bergeron, Campbell, they're all back, healthy, hopefully. It could be a new light for this team.
Now, if you want my novice opinion about the NHL, I personally watched the playoffs, and I believe in Claude Julien. I feel like he's a phenomenal coach from what I saw of that game, and just from generally what I know about the Bruins season last year. I feel that they did produce during the regular season. It just flailed out in the postseason. So if anything, like you guys are saying, they're better now. I feel that with Claude Julien still here and the new acquisitions that they made, I think they have a legitimate chance of making a run.
I think they're right up there.
Tuukka Rask has another year under his belt, so that's always a good thing. And just the fact that the Bruins are, and just this kind of is like the culture of Boston teams. They have like that chip on their shoulder, and I don't think that they're going to be the type of team to like let last year down them this year.
I
they're
think
going to use
last
that
year
as
was a
motivation.
motivation.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Because last year was nothing upsetting. It was an unbelievable
It was a great
finish for them.
season.
Didn't really expect them to make it to the Stanley Cup, and they made it to the Stanley Cup, lost to the better team.
They were 17 seconds away from going to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final.
The way
Not
it
much to
ended was
complain about.
bitter. It was a bitter ending. It shouldn't have. If it ended a little bit better, maybe if they lost in overtime, maybe a little better. But still, unbelievable season. Nothing to look down upon, and they're just going to build up. They have Rask locked in, Bergeron locked in. They have a great future.
Before we move on to, I think you actually nailed it on the head as far as the Tyler Seguin trade. When it comes to if he goes to the other team and all of a sudden he's one of the best players in the NHL, it all matters about where you fit. It wouldn't have worked with the Bruins the way that the Bruins work. So, I mean, you can't kick yourselves over that or, like, regret it. I mean, they made the smart move, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do this year because they seem better. And last year they were, like you said, 17 seconds away?
Yeah, a bad 17 seconds.
A very bad 17
And I
seconds.
mean, Eriksson and Seguin in last season, the shortened season and the season before, have put almost identical numbers, 9,900 points.
Yeah, see?
So identical talent.
All right, so we're going to move on to our final topic, which is NBA. The Heat repeated. LeBron has 2 rings now. The Celtics totally imploded over the offseason, if anybody noticed that. I mean,
Yeah.
no Garnett, no Pierce. It's going to be Rondo now all the way. So, Dave, I'll let you start off.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Celtics?
I think the Celtics go as far as Rondo wants to take them. Rondo's attitude is definitely key. He has to understand that he's not going to be a part of a championship team, a championship caliber team, I should say, because while it is a rebuilding process, I still do feel like they have some pieces to at least put together a winning season. But again, it goes back to Rondo. Rondo has to work with Brandon Bass. He has to work with Jeff Green. He has to work with Avery Bradley to get it all together. The bench is weak by all means, but there is potential in that starting 5 to give some of the people and some of the teams in the Eastern Conference a run for their money. I see them pretty much. If you want a prediction, I can see them competing like they did last year for like a 7-8 spot.
So playoffs or something.
I can see it.
Competing for it.
I can see them competing for that spot. But again, it all goes back to Rondo, and they have the new coach. So he is
Brad
definitely
Stevens,
a question.
yeah.
So Brad Stevens, first he has to develop a relationship with Rondo, which is difficult in itself, from what we know. And Rondo has to buy into the system, and he has to deal with the cards that he's been dealt.
Yeah.
So
All right, Eric?
I'm not expecting anything from the Celtics this year. Unfortunately, they trade Pierce and Garnett to Brooklyn, which, as hard as it is for Celtics fans, for all the good that those two have done, it was probably time. They needed to move on. Having those guys was kind of holding them back from going on to the next phase of Celtics basketball, right? That they're kind of hanging on to the past a little bit. Now that they've traded them away, they've got a new young coach in Brad Stevens. They're building around Rondo, who's hurt, if we remember. We're not sure exactly when he's going to come back, but
he'll be back.
But it is. It's Rondo's team. Whether that's going to be good enough to propel them to a 7th or 8th seed, I don't think really matters. The bottom line with this team is it's rebuilding. It's in a new kind of phase where they're just trying to get to the next great thing, which it's going to take a while.
Yeah,
it's going to take a while for them to get back to where they want to be, for sure.
Well, I got kind of mixed reviews from both of you as far as the Celtics, but both of you brought up Rondo. If things go south, the Celtics shouldn't even hesitate to trade Rondo away because he's the most valuable player on the team, and they can actually rebuild their team while having all these picks they got from the Brooklyn trade. So But
then again, this is going into like college basketball.
Yeah.
There's some very good prospects coming up.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to kind of play it by ear. And
with the lottery, it's so hard because you never know.
Exactly. And
You
then
can't tank.
if let's say they're terrible this season.
Yeah.
They still that increases their probability of getting one of these top prospects from college. So you gotta kind of think about these things. If you jump the gun and trade Rondo for like some veterans or whatever, and let's say you have a winning season, but you get some guy that's like on the tail end of his career because there's not that many free agents that are of like playoff caliber right now. So yeah, you kind of got to play it by ear.
This is a discussion that Celtics fans are going to have. Do we want them to just be mediocre and be that 7th or 8th seed and lose in the first round, or do we want them to tank it and get a top 5 pick?
You can't take the lottery.
It depends.
It's impossible.
Well, of course you can. You get a better chance at getting one of those top picks. This draft coming up is supposed to be a great draft. So
it'd be a better chance. But I mean,
well,
we should have Tim Duncan on our team if the draft lottery actually worked.
Well, right,
the way it was
exactly.
supposed to.
Tim Duncan.
Obviously, it's not a slam dunk, but it's just the decision that Danny Ainge has to make. Do we be that mediocre 7th, 8th seed and lose in the first round, or do we try to rebuild with huge number 1, top 5, top 10 picks?
And that'll come up in the middle of the year, depending on how we're doing. If you say, all right, are we going to tank, or are we going to... And before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, the reason I brought up the Rondo thing, Rondo has 2 years left. If things go really south and Rondo goes into his last year, he's going to be worthless in the trade market because everybody's going to, like, kind of lowball us, basically, and not give us, like, a lot of good prospects or good players. So this would be the year to do it if we did.
If I'm a Celtics fan, I want the rebuilding to actually be a rebuilding. Like I know this is not going to happen with Boston fans. That's not going to happen because they want to win now.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Celtics fan, I want my team to be good for a long period of time. And I feel if you put pieces around Rondo from college and the NCAA, I think that Rondo has enough playmaking ability to make other players better. So it's something that Danny Ainge has to think about.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, I want to surprise you guys because we got a little bit of time left. You guys aren't prepared for this, but take your time. I'll even go first. But I want a ludicrous prediction from any sport this year. Just a statement of something that you think would make us go, oh, of what sport. I want to surprise you guys with this, see what you can come up with. My surprise, real quick, Pittsburgh Pirates, World Series. They're having a tough. They might not even make the playoffs. So that's a bold prediction, but I think they can make the World Series.
That's not a bold prediction by any means.
The
Pirates
are
are
one of the best
It's the
teams.
Pirates. It's the Pirates. I mean, come on.
They're one of
That's
the
like
best
a
teams
team.
already.
Yeah. All right, Eric.
I mean that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would, I mean, even though they've had a great year. I mean, I would have to say that I agree with you. I mean, because I can't think of anything else, to be honest with you. But,
So you also agree with
but
me?
the Pittsburgh Pirates being in the World Series is definitely something that's
Would be
off,
insane.
off
Yeah.
the charts for me.
Jason?
You
I wish
cheat,
I had
you
more
can take
time
that
to
one
think.
too.
I'm gonna say Tiger Woods wins a championship.
Wins a major. Oh,
Wins a
that's a
major?
good one.
Wins a
all right.
major.
All right, wow, that
Next
would be
year,
kind of bold.
Tiger Woods wins a major.
All right, I like it.
Okay. For a bold, random, off the top of your head statement,
Yep.
my bold prediction is that Tim Thompson is going to come back, play for the Florida Panthers, and he's going to be a top 5 goaltender in the
And
NHL.
he's gonna start for the Panthers.
Of course.
Okay. I think that might be
Yeah, okay.
bold.
Yeah, I'll change it up. I'll keep it realistically. I think he'll start for the Florida Panthers this
All
season.
right, there we go. That's very
That's-
bold.
all right.
It's still bold.
It's bold. I think it could happen, will happen. We'll see.
All right, first episode done.
Sounds good.
Season 3.
All right.
I like it. All right, from us from Studio 73. We'll see you guys next time.